back to Cuyahoga Sound Podcast. I'm Evan Stone.
I'm Chuck Schilling.
We're here with Two Dead Roses.
That's TWO.
TWO.
Not two, the number, right?
All right.
Apple Music autocorrects that for you. When you put the number 2, it changes it to TWO.
It's a good thing.
Just so you know.
Good. So what led to that very controversial decision?
The name?
The number as opposed to the word.
Well, many years back when the band started, me and my ex-wife actually kind of started the band. And our last name is Rose. So hence the two roses, two dead roses.
Oh, your last name too, then?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Neither of us are the ex-wife, by the way.
No. Oh, okay. All right.
Might have had something to do with a gravity bong and looking at two dead roses in a vase on the table and one of us saying two dead roses. And we're like, oh, how about that? That could work.
I think the beginning half of that is how Grav got their name.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a good friend band that been in here twice called Grav, out of a gravity bong.
I had somebody come up to me one time at a bar and told me that they had seen us somewhere a few weeks prior. Like, hey, we really liked your music, but your name sucks. It's like, well, that's cool. I don't give a shit. I like it. But thanks for the kind of weird compliment.
Sideways compliment.
Music's cool. Your name sucks. Cool. Okay.
The shitty Beatles, man.
I mean, it's not
Good
as
thing I didn't
legendary
make
as,
it for you.
Yeah, there's that.
Cool. Do y'all want to introduce yourself and what you do in the band?
I'm Mike, guitar, programming, various things.
Cool.
Jay, live drums. I try to be the cement also.
So like that.
Sprinkles.
And I'm Tom. I do vocalizations.
Nice.
I don't like to say sing. That's prettier
more,
than what I do.
Cool. What kind of, how would you describe your music?
You want to take that one?
Industrial metal realm, but that's a pretty wide open category. I mean, industrial in the sense that we use a lot of that type of stompy 4-on-the-floor type of beats with basic metal riffs over top, incorporate a lot of sampling, a little bit of synths, that kind of thing. So
Very hooky.
yeah, industrial metal, but I'd say maybe leaning a little more towards the metal side when you factor in the vocal approach to it.
Especially with the vocals.
So he's a pretty heavy vocalizer.
Nice. Heard some movies in there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We throw in a cover every once in a while. We do our own little take on it. We have a video for Pet Cemetery, which is the Ramones classic. We kind of paid homage to the Ramones in that one, complete with the cemetery shot and the hearse. But we also gave it a little, Two Dead Roses vibe to it too. Some aggressive vocals, pretty fun. We also do a cover of She Bop by Cyndi Lauper.
Nice.
Which is that everybody we try to close with that one. We get a lot of positive feedback on that one because it's people like they hear it and they're like, that sounds very familiar, and they're like, holy crap, that's She Bop, because it's got like death metal vocals.
Little unexpected.
Yeah, unexpected, definitely. So it's fun.
It's always nice catching a surprise like that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That the band that was right before Sea Level on Saturday night when they pulled out Beck. Out of nowhere, I'm like, this sounds like Loser.
Yeah. That's,
Wait,
yeah.
it is.
First came in, I'm like, all right, it's Loser. It's just done totally different.
That's exactly the thought that was going through my head when it started. I'm like, are they trying to play Loser? And then they started singing it.
I've always thought that was a good thing because, let's face it, not everybody wants to see the opening acts all the time, and a lot of them are just kind of filler, and you're looking forward to the headliner that you've been so excited about for so long, and for someone to play something when you probably don't know their music, and then maybe they end or they include like a cool cover that really makes you remember them.
Something familiar.
Like many years ago, a band opened for Ministry, and I wasn't really a big fan, but they closed it out with a Cure song, and it was like, oh my God, it was so amazing, and I'll never forget it. And it was amazing. And
what was the name of that band?
Professional Murder Music.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think that was a Martin
Beautiful.
Atkins. Yeah.
It sounds like a Martin Atkins thing.
Yeah. So yeah.
Cool.
So how's the songwriting start? Like, it's so different from the stuff that we've played. That we enjoy it, but we just don't know the process at all.
Probably not in the most traditional format, but not anything complicated either. I mean, really, I usually, well, pretty much always started writing with drum machines. I'd throw down a beat, let it loop, start chunking around, wait until something started sounding good, and just start piecing it together with various riffs. I mean, a lot of times I wouldn't ever write a song from beginning to end from scratch. It'd be pieced together with, I wrote this one riff a couple years ago that I had no idea what to do with, and now I got this new riff. Now if I can come up with one more riff and put these together, now we're going to have a song going on here. And then I'll try to spice it up a little with throwing in some samples, synths, stuff like that.
So you have all these riffs. Like, how do you like categorize your? Cause I have a lot of riffs going on a computer with random names. I have a note card over here with random names. I was going through with Evan where it's just like song idea 3, funky,
Yeah.
Hornet-ish song. Like, so how do you take those? Like, do you have them all in your brain, or do you have them all? How do you get the pieces you need?
Well, I've written more riffs than I've ever used, but the ones that I feel are usable, song-worthy riffs, they just kind of stick. I mean, there's riffs that we use in our current songs that I probably wrote when I was a teenager. I'm pushing 50 now, but I remember this one riff that I had way back then. I'm like, well, I wish I could turn this into a song, but back then I wasn't really good at putting a full song together. I'm like, well, I got this cool sounding thing. I don't know what to do with it. Well, I'll just file that away and fast forward 20, 30 years, and now I can do something with this.
Yeah, a lot of our favorites.
Let me think on this one for a while.
A lot of our favorite songs that we play, he's mentioned that, hey, I wrote that riff when I was like 19 years old. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. So it doesn't sound dated.
Yeah.
Which a lot of that music doesn't. Like, for example, I just read an article that the Downward Spiral from Nine Inch Nails came out around this time 29 years ago. And if you were to play
Doesn't
that
seem
record,
like that long ago.
and it's one of the few records that you could actually play and it doesn't sound dated. Even the production on it, it sounds like something that would have just come out because of, Trent being Trent.
Yeah, that's an amazing sounding album.
Nine Inch Nails hoodie. I didn't wear mine today.
Oh.
Good. I thought to message you, like,
Yeah.
hey, don't wear your Nine Inch Nails hoodie, man.
I'm a Michael Bolton fan.
I didn't get the memo on the black shirts though.
I did.
Yeah, you're all set.
I could take it off. Well, it's pretty dark underneath. So if you pull off that layer, it's even darker.
So let's talk influences with Nine Inch Nails.
Oh, absolutely. That was actually one of my first concerts when I was a kid. My dad was actually taking my older brother and one of his friends. And I was like, well, I want to go too, and I think I'd heard Head Like a Hole on MTV, but could have cared less at that point. And it was Nine Inch Nails and David Bowie. And it was just mind-blowing, seeing Nine Inch Nails live, in their peak, that Downward Spiral tour, and then David Bowie. I mean,
Heroin
That's a
Free.
crazy combo.
yeah. Oh, it was an amazing concert.
My wife went to that. I didn't go.
So, yeah, that was definitely influential.
Somebody gave me a copied cassette tape of Pretty Hate Machine back in high school. That was my introduction to it. I was impressed.
But interesting enough, between the 3 and 4 of us, even though we play a lot of screamy, aggressive music, I mean, we're all like, I'm a huge Prince fan. I love disco. Him and I both
Madonna.
both absolutely.
Smash Mouth.
Yeah, well, no. But we both have share a love of like 80s pop music.
Yeah.
Like the goofier the better. So we're kind of all over the place. But this is just kind of what comes out of those guys is that.
There's some cool stuff in that 80s pop stuff, especially like bass lines.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to Borderline from Madonna, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
synth bass, but
Yep.
it's just a cool fucking line.
Yeah.
It is.
And then Duran Duran, we were fucking around with Rio the other day.
We were just listening to that at practice
At
the other day.
practice.
Dude, that
Yeah.
bass line is
Bass line is
insane.
killer.
It is great.
It's ridiculous.
And the bass player's name is escaping me at the moment right now. But he had during quarantine, he came on and was like, did a how-to on how to play that on YouTube.
Wow.
It was fantastic because he's like, all right, well, here's a boring version of how it goes, but I'm the bass player, so
He's
I wanted to really.
Taylor, I think.
Yeah, I never
One of the
realized there was
Taylors.
that much
Yeah.
going on, actually.
Yeah, he's like, so I thought, how would this be way cooler? And he adds a couple stops in there and just bumps it up.
They're playing Blossom this summer.
Are they?
Yep, I definitely want to go to that.
Yeah, I'm totally down for that. It's right down the street.
Nice.
Yeah.
Part of what got me into the industrial metal realm was
God
Not-
shakes.
what- well, yeah. In high school, like before I'd really discovered many industrial bands, I was into all the typical hard rock and metal that most people like when they're growing up. I always liked the metal riffs, the heavy guitars, and all that. But I had a few friends that liked going up to the Flats back in the day. Old clubs like Trilogy and Metropolis, where they'd be playing that just like pounding techno shit, And I always really liked that kind of beat, but I also liked my metal riffs. I'm like, man, somebody should like put those together. Well, little did I know there was people putting that together. I started to hear some of the bands doing that kind of music, and I was like, oh, this kind of does it for me. That's what I'm talking about here. So those various elements kind of coming together, had an impact on the direction I went with things.
So how is it being a live drummer in that type of situation? Because a lot of it is just based on that beat, and a lot of the times the beat is coming from a machine initially.
Right. That's a great question, and that's it's something that I kind of really was born for because, for example, when I play, even if I've ever been in a punk band or a metal band, when I'm just like jamming with in-ears or headphones, I'm playing like the Bee Gees. I'm playing along with Depeche Mode, which is like my favorite band on the planet and has been forever. I'm playing along with Prince. I'm playing along with Madonna. I'm playing along with like dancey stuff, just because that's fun. It's fun and exciting. So I mean, basically we're playing like the equivalent of disco beats over like really
Yeah.
heavy, aggressive music.
I always thought that kind of stuff stemmed from disco. And if you want to go back further, some people might think I'm silly or off for thinking this, but if you want to go way back, almost like country hoedown, stomp clap type of stuff, and then you
Bluegrass is the first speed metal.
then you have then you have disco doing that, and then it evolved into other styles of music, but it's based around that type of beat.
Yeah.
We call it boots and pants.
Boots and pants.
Boots and pants.
Not that all of our songs are, doing that kind of thing, but it's a common theme.
You get a lot of triggering going on with that, or is it acoustic drum
So
sound?
we move it a couple different ways. I do have a snare trigger that I'm using, and usually in the backing track we have like a throbbing electronic kind of techno-y kick, and then I kind of lay over that. So the live drums are more of like an accent to the program stuff.
Is that with a track basically?
Exactly.
Then? Okay.
Yes, and that's fun, and it really makes us sound full.
Yeah.
It livens it up quite a bit
Yeah, that's
live.
cool. Because you can't replace good cymbals. 2002s, for example. You can't really replicate that with electronics.
Yeah.
So we try to keep some nice bottom end to kind of give you that throbby, dancey, shake your booty kind of thing. And then I've got I'm playing lots of good cymbal work and hi-hat work and things like that over it. Some tasty fills, but nothing too crazy. It's just I keep it simple and straightforward, and don't try to like showboat. And just kind of serve the song with it.
Right. It's all about the
Yep, definitely.
nice.
It's fun.
Yeah, he's fit in really well with this format because we've tried a handful of drummers over the years, and not that they weren't great drummers or anything, but it seems to me that most drummers really aren't satisfied to just be tied to a track and be playing over top of that, and that's understandable. But if you have somebody that's really into that type of music, well then they're okay with that format.
Right.
That's Jeremy. That's where
Yeah.
he comes in. He's the man for that job.
Yeah, I totally get that. I played in a band that was an 80s band, but it was like an MTV tribute. So it was all,
Good old
we
mood
had
band.
the music videos playing.
Okay, cool.
And I triggered everything from the drums to cue the videos. The lights were synced with it, so it was
nice.
all there.
One big
Um,
presentation.
Yeah, it was. It was quite a show, but like I felt disconnect from
Sure.
So I think it takes different types of drummers. Like there's the right person for that job. I created the whole thing,
Right.
and I was like, I'm not the right person for this. You guys should continue. This is a cool thing, but I'm not the right guy.
Gotcha.
You know.
I'd pretty much given up on drummers for a stretch. We would go out, just as a 2 or 3 piece without a drummer and just play over a track. And, a lot of people would be like, oh, well, where's your drummer at? Because it's not the traditional approach. But in the industrial realm, it's not that uncommon to see that. So
Yeah.
that's how I felt about it. Well, it's not too uncommon for this type of music, so whatever. But we were playing a show. What was it, Thrill Kill Cult?
One of my favorite bands
I think we were
for
pl-
decades.
Yeah, we're playing at
Thrill
Musica
Cult.
with Thrill Kill.
Thrill Kill
and,
Cult.
Real kill.
apparently he was in the audience, and I started getting these messages every couple of weeks about seeing if we needed a drummer. And after a year or two, I was like, all right, come down, try out.
Yeah.
It'll make
Sick
you
of
shut
these
up, join our
messages.
band.
Right, right,
And then COVID happened.
right.
And
We were talking about that before we started recording a little bit.
Yeah, it
Oh,
definitely
we
put the
were
brakes
recording.
on things.
Okay.
Well, I wasn't here.
Always recording, right?
It's always recording. Dennis's apartment, man.
Yeah, I saw these guys opening for one of my favorite bands in the world, and I was like, the songs are good, they're catchy, they look cool, but I think me playing with them would make it even cooler because it just, and so I stopped them for a little bit, and, after a couple restraining orders, we ended up getting together, and it was.
Oh, he's
Sometimes it's
He's
easier
definitely
just
been
to
a
let
good
them
addition.
let them come in.
right.
Yeah. Too
Struggle
much
for it.
paperwork.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Oh yeah, he's definitely worked out well and livened things up for us. His last name's Good, so I always have to give him like pretty good addition. Sounded good.
I see what you did there.
See what I did there?
So how'd the whole band start? What's the history here?
Well, not in the most traditional format, I guess. I'd been playing with a couple Akron area bands back in the day. Bone Basket, they're like an industrial rock band. Haycore Inc., they're hardcore thrash. And I just, I played bass for those bands, and I enjoyed it. They were good bands, but I always had the urge to kind of do my own thing. So I pretty much just at home in my free time started working on the tracks and came up with a good handful of instrumentals that I wanted to turn into a full band. But finding people that were interested in doing that type of music wasn't exactly easy. It took a while to get people together, and it was a revolving door for quite some time. But eventually, I found a handful of guys where it seemed to stick and turned into more of an actual band rather than me just sitting at home writing tracks with my drum machine and my guitar.
And I kind of accidentally became the singer, almost. I had helped record their first album, well, the Two Dead Roses' first album, and they were just getting ready to start playing shows for it. And the original singer, well, I guess he wasn't even the original, the second singer, flaked out, and they needed a singer.
Was
And
this
me
around-
and my other buddy.
Around 2015-ish?
Yeah, it's been
Sounds
a while.
about right.
I was like, well, I know the words. Sure, we'll sing. We'll do this show with you. And then that was kind of all she wrote.
Cool. Can we talk about vocals for a second? For industrial metal screaming, it's hard for me to conceptualize like how you can do that with your voice and how you can without damaging your vocal cords. Or so my question is like, how do you prepare your voice? How do you keep it intact so that those sounds can come out of you?
I do. I try to warm up a lot beforehand. Just a lot of like sweeping like vocals, like going high and going low, and going high and going low. And the keys always like don't go over 80%. You want to like squeeze every last little bit out of that scream, but you got to hold back 80%. You got to stay that way. I'll be good. If not, I won't be able to talk by the end of the show.
Okay.
Did you get that 80% rule from somebody?
Just learning it the hard way, like losing my voice in the middle of a set. Like,
Yeah.
oh great, now the terror comes in. Like I can't finish the set. I think this is terrible.
Yeah. I've had that drumming where like all of a sudden my hand will start to cramp up and I'm like,
Like, no, don't do that. Yeah, right. Yeah, foot cramp
we
or
got a
something.
set to go.
But honestly, like, I had an older brother who was all into the thrash and stuff back in the day, heavy metal. So it's like I kind of grew up listening to that stuff, and I'd always just kind of mimic him and mock him. So like since I was a little kid, I was like trying to growl and stuff like that. So I don't know. I guess it was never really like taught. I just kind of figured it out. You know?
Where is it? While you're performing it, like where does that sound come from? In your throat or chest?
Pretty deep. Yeah, it's
Demons.
definitely like it's all deep in the
Comes
throat.
from hell.
It's a lot of like relaxing and like opening that throat up, and like, you know, some guys like to sing with the mic up in the air. I feel like I start getting tense, so I'm kind of like, you know, head down screaming. And yeah,
Cool.
I guess it's not something I've like thought about a whole lot, but yeah, I just kind
We're
of
all
do
in
it.
on the technical aspects of it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
like
especially things we don't understand. or
Yeah.
aren't
And
familiar
listen,
with.
it truly is an art form. Like you can hear people like try to do it, and it's not. Some people like, oh, they're just screaming. It's not like that. Like listening to our records and him live, he's got just a very solid, a really good it's just a really strong presence. Like
I could try to do it, and after 20 seconds, I'd be.
yeah, I don't know how he does it.
Anytime I've tried to do that type of vocal, I just immediately start like coughing. I can't get that
right.
out.
Yeah.
So I think of like people are doing hour, 2 hour, 3 hour sets of like this.
Tours.
Tours, right? Every night I have them.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It almost gets easier, like when you start doing the back-to-back shows, because like you just get deeper and gravelier.
yeah.
You know, and it's easier to hit that. Yeah, I think like practice definitely helps.
So if
a
you're
lot.
coming in fresh, do you have to blow it out a little bit to
Oh
get
yeah,
it there?
like
Yeah.
usually the first song I'll feel just like awful, like yeah, it'll be terrible. But after like a song or two, right? Yeah, after a song or two, I can finally really get
Little
down
painful,
low.
break it out.
Yeah, the voice warms up just like, you know, on guitar, drums, or bass, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Like I usually feel a little rusty when we first get going, but you know, get a couple songs into it, start feeling a little smoother, a little more fluent. Guess probably the same.
what Tom-
So
same
now we
COVID.
started playing some songs in like drop C, so I really had to like, get even lower.
To talk to Mike from the last band we had in, that guy had the lowest voice.
Oh yeah. I thought I had a low voice. He's
That
like,
dude, yeah. He's like movie voiceover
Like-
low.
Nice.
Peter Steele style.
Yeah.
So opens. Do you use 7/8 string guitars at all, or do you?
no.
Okay.
Never. You know, I could probably take the couple strings off my guitar and be fine. I play a 2-note power chord, low end chunking. That's about it. Occasionally I'll throw out a little melody. I'm about as basic as you can get.
Nothing wrong with that.
When I was young, I was really into, you know, punk rock like Misfits, Sex Pistols, Ramones, and it's just chun, 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 you know, and that's what I always liked, and I never really made any effort whatsoever to try to become Mr. Fancy Pants on the guitar. It's just like, well, the music that I like doesn't require that, so, and I don't really give a shit about being the badass guitarist or outdoing anybody. I just do what I want, so. I mean, you learn a 2-note power chord and you can play any of the riffs that we have. It's nothing to it. It's just a matter of putting together the right riff and the right beat. That's where the magic comes in.
He's like the Malcolm Young of industrial. He's got a really good solid, a really nice good solid right hand as far as timing goes.
Yeah.
Just very hooky and chunky riffs.
It's
and
funny being that
good.
I'm left-handed.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, really?
yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I assume you're playing a righty guitar then, if these guys didn't know it.
No, I play this way.
All right.
I've always thought that you should be left-handed to play guitar, because
There's
It-
way more going on.
in my mind, it's your left hand that's doing everything. Your right hand's just rhythm.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of left-handed people, yeah, play opposite. But
There's a lot of
there's no way I could do that.
a lot of left-handed drummers that play righty.
Right.
Oh no!
Whoops. Didn't know that was there.
It's still good. It's still good.
Sorry.
It's not good. It's broken.
Oh,
You
oh
get
no!
inviting rock stars
Didn't know
over, they
that
start
was
breaking
sitting there.
shit.
That'll buff out.
We're still good.
It'll buff out.
It's just glass.
I don't come down here barefoot.
Broken glass never hurt anybody. Oh wait.
So what about Lefty Kits? Isn't that mind blowing to see? Like, it just looks so.
It's weird to watch lefty drummers go. Like I had a band that opened for Winger, and their drummer's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's a lefty, and watching him play was just, threw me way off. But then Ringo's a lefty, plays righty, but then does all his fills like lefty.
Interesting. Yeah.
So
I
So
love
that mean
Ringo.
that your kit would be set up opposite?
It does.
Yeah.
Yep. Your hat's over here if you're cross sticking. Then your
Stuart
foot
Copeland's a
tones.
lefty, but he plays righty.
Yeah, he's
he
also
he
a
sets up
god.
righty.
I never knew that.
Yeah, he's got that. I just found that out recently.
I've been in a missing persons kick lately. It's cool to see Terry Bozzio just ripping it on like synth pop songs from the 80s. It's just such good stuff. You like that? I'm sure you do, right?
I'm not familiar.
Check it out.
Missing persons.
Oh,
It's like
Somebody
5
wants to know,
episodes
eh?
in a row we've mentioned Stuart Copeland, right?
well, he's awesome.
I'll drink to that.
The Police.
Let's go with the 216.
I'm into that.
All right, so a 216 is a little segment we do so that we have shorter clips because people don't watch the whole fucking show.
Oh yeah, we have 0 listeners as of right now.
No, Alan's in, and you're going to listen.
Oh,
so you
yeah,
and Alan.
Yeah, that's right. Okay,
Okay.
2.
All right. So the 2 is 2 Desert Island albums.
Okay.
1 is 1 venue you'd love to play, and then 6 is 6 bands that we should be listening to that we might not be.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whoever
so 2
wants to
and
start,
2 and 1 from each of you, and then
the
up-
6 you
up
can
to 6
combine. Yeah.
each.
Okay, that works.
6 or more.
Yeah.
So 2 Desert Island records. I would say one would definitely be between the Purple Rain soundtrack. I'm gonna call that one. I'm gonna say Purple Rain soundtrack, obviously by the GOAT, and Depeche Mode Violator. I could listen to those two all day, every day for the rest of my life, and I probably have. One venue that I'd like to play, I'd like to play the Whiskey, just because of its legendary status. That'd be kind of
definitely.
cool.
It's the first time we've heard that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in
that's
LA,
a-
right?
Like everybody's like Madison Square Garden. I want to play the Whiskey.
Yeah.
There's just so much magic that
Yeah.
happened there, from Jim Morrison doing his thing to the Sunset Strip stuff, and so I think that would be cool. And then we can kind of maybe pool our 6 together. But what do you guys
go
think?
ahead with your 2s and 1s.
I guess just to throw one album in there. I mean, one I have never gotten sick of is Dark Side of the Moon. I
Right.
think that's
Just turned 50.
such a good album.
Albums, maybe, and I could probably, name off 20, but I don't know. Maybe Nevermind the Bollocks by the Sex Pistols, and Nothing's Shocking by Jane's Addiction.
Very, very good.
We were just jamming some Jane's Addiction earlier.
Love
Yeah,
James. Love.
Never tire of those.
That was way ahead of its time too. That
Oh
album,
yeah,
man.
it was. To me, it seemed like probably not just to me, but it seemed like a crossover album. Because like when I was in high school, it was like there was like kind of the punk crowd, and then there was like the rock metal crowd, and it was like during my time when Nothing's Shocking started, gaining notice. It was like it kind of like seemed like a bridge between these like two different types of scenes,
Yeah.
And I liked that because I was into all different kinds of stuff, I mean, I was into, the punk stuff. I was also into Guns N' Roses and Metallica, I mean, and The Cure and whatever the hell, I liked all kinds of shit, I wasn't into doing the clicky thing, like, oh, I'm all about just this or just that. I like all kinds of shit. Sure, I have my preferences like everybody else, but, how can you just nail yourself down to one style of music for eternity,
Right. Yeah, they were doing like warehouse shows at that time, I think, because they couldn't get gigs anywhere, and I can't imagine having that sound and not being able to get gigs anywhere.
Definitely ahead of the time. So what was the 6? It was 6.
6 bands.
We
that
only
should
got
be
we only got one
There you
album.
go.
Over here, yeah. Dark Side of the Moon and
I mean, guys, that's like I said, my musical tastes are so all over the place.
You like ABBA?
Yeah, ABBA's fantastic. I don't know if that'd be desert island music
No.
though. That's like Guantanamo Bay music
There you
after
go.
a while.
Dancing Queen's a good song.
May I dig back to teenage years? Mechanical Animals by Marilyn Manson is one of the best produced albums.
It's like every
Ever.
note is perfect on it. of every instrument. It's like perfect.
Yeah.
Agree with that.
In our unprofessional opinions.
Can we turn the tables and ask you guys what are some of your favorites?
Oh, yeah.
What have I been listening to lately?
Your favorites.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Desert Island. I'm going. Physical Graffiti from Zeppelin.
Oh, got to do a double album.
Yeah, yeah. I
If you're on a
gotta-
desert album,
Right.
Desert Island, you need to
Actually,
long one.
because of that, I'm going. I'm switching it up. I'm going. Song remains the same from Zeppelin because who doesn't need a 28-minute version of Dazed and Confused while you're stuck on an island?
I just noticed that a Ministry song that I've always loved sounds like it was extremely influenced from a Zeppelin song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the song Scarecrow, isn't it?
Yep.
Scarecrow by Ministry. The riff and harmonic and everything sounds a lot like When the Levee Breaks.
Okay.
It just I heard it on the radio at work one day and I was like, wait a minute, that sounds like Scarecrow. And I was like listening and I'm like, dude, I know where he totally got this idea from. This is just like When the Levee Breaks.
I'll go with Abbey Road for my second.
Ooh, yes.
Nice.
What do you got?
It's funny that we've asked this question so much and I don't know my own. Yeah.
My venue for Cleveland would be House of Blues.
I like the
I'm going to go with...
Played there once.
For one, I'm going to go with In Your Honor by Foo Fighters.
Okay.
And not because it's one of my favorite, but for Desert Album, it's a double album that has two sides to it. Like one side is rock songs, one side is acoustic songs.
Nice.
So like I'm gonna be in a bunch of moods.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And then number two, Animals
Okay.
by Pink Floyd.
Nice.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
So who do you think's going to be playing drums for Dave? You think it's going to be one person,
it's-
or like a Josh Freese, or is it going to be someone that surprises us, or hopefully it's not going to be like Nandy or something silly like that?
That would.
I think they
No
lost me.
offense, but I hope not.
Right,
I think because of their level of notoriety and celebrity, you could say,
Sure.
it's not going to be somebody that is like hugely famous. I think it's
Right.
going to be more of a background guy, and like then
That would be good.
and they'll the Foo Fighters will be like the five guys, and then they like won't really have the drummer in
I
the
can see
lineup
that.
at first.
I can see that.
At first, but they're not going to stop playing. They're only like in their 40s and 50s, right?
Right.
So
Dave's gonna play drums and guitar at the same time.
yeah.
yeah, like the best drummer in the Foo Fighters, yeah,
Right.
it's Dave Grohl.
That was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. I got lucky and scored like a last minute scalper. Like somebody probably bought all the good tickets, then they were about to lose their butt. So I got 2 pit tickets for Foo Fighters at Blossom, and I took my kid, and it was amazing. Like
Was
it was,
that like 5-6 years ago?
Yeah, it was the last
So-
time they played. I saw you there that
yeah,
night.
you saw me there.
Yeah. That was so packed. And we're
That
sitting at
was
the parking
we
lot,
did
like,
get to see Dave Grohl
hey,
play drums at that show.
That was cool.
And Taylor came out and sang Under Pressure
Right.
with the singer of the opening band. They're called the Struts. And I think he did the Freddie Mercury parts.
Right.
Taylor did. Yeah.
That was a big full circle moment for me because the last time I had seen Dave Grohl play drums was October 30th, 1993 in Dayton at a Nirvana concert.
Wow.
Wow, nice.
So that was
Dayton.
Yes.
Cool.
Hara Arena. I don't even know if that probably doesn't exist anymore.
Not much of Dayton exists anymore.
right. But yeah,
I saw
It's
Incubus.
war torn.
I saw Incubus in Dayton. Well, it was Huber Heights,
okay.
Ohio. There's a place called Rose Music Center. And it's like bigger like Blossom. I think there's like a lawn area too. It's like an amphitheater. But, yeah. That was a few years back.
Excellent.
Cool.
I
And
played
then
some Dayton amphitheater once. I forgot what the hell it was called, but it was for a road fest.
Blossom's probably the one venue I would like to play.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
That would be pretty cool.
I went to my son's graduation at Blossom.
Oh wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Graduation from what?
Woodridge.
Oh wow.
Was it a
And
huge school?
What's that?
Was it a huge school or something?
No, not really. It's just it's the local. It's within a mile of Blossom or something like that. So they always have their graduations at Blossom. I'm sitting there watching my son on stage, thinking, man, you know how many times I wanted to be on that stage? Here you are.
We had
All
ours.
you
Very
did was
proud.
graduate high school.
We had ours at CSU because we had too many people. Like I was at Mentor and we had like 1,300 in my class.
That's
So they
funny.
just-
That's funny. I went to Chardon and our graduation was
You
at
had
Mentor.
13?
Was at Mentor Civic
Oh,
Center. Right?
Yeah, we had like 1,300, so we had all the buses go out to fucking CSU.
Yep.
That was the longest day ever.
We went through that last year with my son Harrison, who is a very good drummer these days. He's in a death metal band called Mutilation Barbecue. They're playing a lot, doing some regional tours. They're on a small independent death metal record label. So it's not everybody's cup of tea.
Does their logo look like a pile of
It
sticks?
does. It does.
Right.
It looks like a pile of shit. But they're having fun. He's doing his thing, living his dream. And I told him he has the rest of his life for reality and life to kick him in the balls. So do it while you can.
I did my reality early. Now I'm just doing a podcast.
Hey, that's
Sounds like fun.
it's all about
I don't know if
balance.
I've ever done the reality thing.
It's overrated.
Yeah. Extremely.
All right, let's go for 6 bands that you guys would recommend.
Go ahead. You start.
Shit. I have to think about it for a second.
It doesn't have to be 6 each.
Collectively.
Let's do 6 each.
Oh, you're gonna put them on the
Hansel and Gretel.
Ooh.
They're industrial metal. Have a German influence, even though they're from New York, the Bronx. A lot of their lyrics are in German, but very, very excellent songwriting. I mean, you could say they're kind of in the Rammstein ballpark if you had to compare them to something, but they're one of my favorite bands. I've been listening to them for probably going on 20 years now. And it's rare that I, hear a band and actually latch on to them and keep listening to them. Not much. I mean, I generally listen to the same shit I've been listening to since I was in high school. It's like everything these days is like, whatever, it's all right, But these guys, it's a 2-piece, a guy and a girl. They caught my ear. Been listening to them ever since. So, yeah, I'd have to say Hansel and Gretel.
Cool. That makes good sense. When you said that, I pictured a guy and a girl just up on stage. Yeah.
Dead Milkmen. Been a fan since I was a teenager. Just fun.
You know what, Stewart?
Fun.
I like you.
Right. They're just amazing. They're still around. They're just one of the most fun bands on the planet. They don't take themselves too seriously, and they're old, nerdy looking dudes, but they just get up there and they just shred. So that's what's pretty cool. It's like they defy like the logic of like what punk rock looks like or is supposed to look like or act like or feel like. They're just fun. What about you?
Gosh. 68. This band called 68. It's a 2-piece. Drummer, guitar player, guitarist sings. He uses a lot of like doublers and stuff. Like it sounds like there's a bass player and everything too. He's using all kinds of effects, and they are just. It is like the most energetic 2-piece you will ever see. I mean, I don't even know if they're still doing anything anymore, but they're.
I remember you played me a few tracks. I was impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take your 2-piece and I'll raise you to a 1-piece. Elise True. I think she is maybe Canadian. She's probably living in LA now. She's super young, early 20s. I might have sent you a video. You've probably seen her. She
sent me
does
that.
mashups and loops. She does this one incredible mashup of Bobby Caldwell. Things you do for love or what you want, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. And then Everlong. And she is a young girl. She shreds on drums. She plays every single instrument flawlessly. She has the voice of an angel. She's beautiful. It's just ridiculous. And she's amazing. So she's actually going to be playing in Cleveland, I think, at the Happy Dog or something like that, maybe, or Beachland or one of those sometime this month. It's just one of those things where we've all been practicing our instruments for many years. And to see someone so young just be all like, yeah, I play them all perfectly. Thank you. And she's hot, and she's like, oh, poor thing. I'm sure she'll have a really rough life, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, so she's awesome. Your turn.
We're at 4.
More.
Oh shit, I need 2 more.
Pigface. Oh yeah, very good. I agree.
Yeah.
Pigface is fun.
Pigface,
It's like
sure.
like an art collective, industrial supergroup with a revolving door. They've had everybody from Trent Reznor to,
Martin Atkins, the main man.
yep. Let's see.
Christoph of Bile.
Danny Carey of Tool has been in there. Randy from Lamb of God was in the last run.
Wow.
So yeah, they're fun. They're just it's basically like 12 people on stage, just writing, making really cool music and putting on a good show and just having fun. And
I think even Tame Down from Faster Pussycat was part of it for a
yeah,
minute.
I can see that.
Wow.
Genesis P-Orridge,
Yeah, Ogre from Skinny Puppy.
Levi.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like pretty much anybody that was involved in any of the known industrial bands through the 80s and 90s, like, had a part in this band. It was interesting.
All those like Wax Trax bands.
Right.
Wax Tracks. I'm unfamiliar with that term.
It was a Chicago record label and music store in the 80s, 90s. That's kind of where like for example, Seattle, the grunge scene exploded there. LA, the hair metal scene exploded there. When Chicago, that's where industrial really kind of for the United States really kind of really blossomed and took off with the help of that label, who really kind of launched everything in the record store where everybody kind of got together at, and a lot of them worked there and met up, and so a lot of great bands that we like that influenced us.
Didn't Uncle Al work there?
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
So bands like Ministry, My Life with a Thrill Kill Cults.
Yeah, I would throw them out as a suggestion to listen to.
Yeah, very cool.
But I mean,
My life is the what?
Thrill Kill
my
Cult.
life with the Thrill Kill Cult.
With
but I mean, a
Strange.
lot of these type of bands, though, I mean, definitely aren't for everyone. I mean, I guess that's why they're kind of underground niche bands, because it just doesn't have mass appeal. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like it appeals to a lot of people, but not on the scale of like Pink Floyd. I mean,
Sure.
anything like that. It's kind of its own dark little corner of the world.
So what's what can be recognized as great songwriting or great or even like performing? How do you what do you like about it? Like what attaches you to something and says, "Oh, this is good. This is quality."
I just look at like if something is what you typically call catchy or have a hook. I mean, you can noodle around all day being Mr. Fancy Pants on the guitar or piano or whatever. You can be fancy and technical as hell, but that doesn't mean that it's catchy. That doesn't mean that it's hooky, that people are going to like it. I can see that in any song, whether it be, death metal or industrial or, pop rock or rap or whatever. Does it have that hook? Does it have that one little part that gets your attention? It's like, yeah. And you can notice that most of these songs have a particular type of format to it, And I don't think you have to reinvent the wheel every time you write a song. The reason a certain format works is because it works. Like why try to? I think sometimes people try too hard to be different and forget what actually works.
Musicality.
So,
I guess I asked that question because I don't understand it as much. I'm thinking that it's so far out there for me that it's something different that makes it good, but it's just like anything else, huh?
I think it's just putting your personal little salt and pepper on a formula.
Cool. Yeah.
I like the aesthetic that's kind of attached to the whole entire genre and scene. Just like the feeling of, like you're going into like some like seedy like S&M dungeon, with like the dark lighting and lots of haze and just like really like deep, you know, synthy, dark, just kind of like I've always said, you know, like there are different types of movies that we all like, and I like a lot of music that would be compared to like the horror movie genre. You know, that doesn't mean that I want to go home and kill people or anything like that.
Right.
But, you know, sometimes, I don't really listen to a lot of like metal these days. A lot of screamy stuff. That's just like I like to play it, and I like to be involved in it. But you know, like we were saying at band practice, we'll listen to Duran Duran and ABBA and
I've been listening to
Or
that.
like Big Band from the 40s.
I've been listening to that one track. I forget the name of the band. You know, the "I Want to Be a Cowboy" song.
also you
Okay.
can be a cowgirl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a different one.
I've been rocking that in the morning when I'm getting ready.
We went down a Michael McDonald hole at practice the last
Right.
time. Then we're like, and then we have to hear "Regulate" by Warren G because of the
Yeah.
Michael McDonald connection. And we
Yeah.
listened to both of those. And
And I'm like, is this what guys are listening to at home?
we're like,
So are there any bands that are taking this musical formula but not embracing the aesthetic so much, going full My Little Pony version? Like, I'm trying to think of an exact opposite of that.
I mean,
Is there any of that going on?
Probably because everything is, nothing is real in this world, and then you can't take yourself too seriously.
Well, there's always that question of, the aesthetic of music, the visual aspect of it, Some people think that, oh, well, what you look like and what your stage show's like doesn't matter. All that matters is the music. And, that's a legitimate point, sure, the music is what's probably the most important, but, I think the visual aspect is important too, because when you go to see a band, you're going to see a band.
Yep.
If you just want to hear it, you can do that at home. Lemmy, Motorhead, he said something to the effect of, when people go to see a rock show, they don't want to see the guy next door.
Yeah.
They want to
See an alien from outer space
Right.
on
Yeah.
stage.
Right,
Yep.
right. So
Yeah.
there is that element of it's part of the creative formula. People want something out of the ordinary. You don't want your daily grind that you just got done doing all day. You want to see something exciting, something different.
I remember seeing like the music video for Wild Side from Motley Crue, and Tommy Lee just like in his drum set doing
Yeah.
flips over the crowd. I'm like, well, that's what I want to do.
Right.
I'd like to do that.
I was
forever.
never a Crew fanatic, but that was always my favorite song by them.
Yeah, it's a good tune.
Yeah.
I was also in a Crew tribute band
Nice.
among all the
Nice.
tribute bands I've been in.
So let's talk
one of
about
them.
John 5. Like, man, I've seen some footage of him, and I hate to say it, but he's playing Mick Mars better than Mick Mars played Mick Mars.
Oh,
I
Mick
mean,
Mars was like had a stone spine
yeah,
for the
yeah.
last 20
But
years.
he's it's almost like this is like
That's what.
so easy
But
for
that's
him.
what John Five is. He's a
Right.
studio musician.
Right.
Yeah.
That's,
He's
his
got a
job
guitar in
is
his hand
to
all day.
Yeah.
that's his job, just to be a badass guitar player all day.
That's all his
Can do
Instagram's
anything.
been for the last however many months.
Yeah.
It's just him playing Crew songs, just nonstop.
Now,
he
who's going
just
to be
got it.
Vince Neil?
Exactly.
I
exactly.
know.
Yeah.
That should be criminal that he's doing that
The
to his
abominable
fans.
snowman.
Right.
I recommend Tim Hinton, who was the singer in the Crew tribute I was in, and man, he nailed Vince Neil perfect. And the hilarious thing about Tim is when you talk to him, he sounds like Boomhauer from fucking King of the Hill.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell you what, man, we nailed that Wild Side thing, man. Going down there, we're going down to Southern Ohio. We're gonna go play down there.
That's great.
Wild Side. Like,
Somebody was
fucking-
actually asking me not too long ago, like, how long do you think you're gonna, keep doing this? And how long do you think your voice will hold out? Whatever. I was like, I'll do this until I start looking like Vince, and then I'm done, because that should be criminal.
I always tell myself one more year, and then that was like 6 or 8 years ago. It's like, one more year, one more year,
Still
one
fun.
more year.
Browns fans saying next year, man.
Yeah. Keep going, keep going. Because what else are you gonna do?
Well, I don't know. I've been preaching the last few years the freedom of letting go of Browns fandom.
Yeah, I did.
I did a few
that.
years ago. I've been pretty healthy.
The
It's a toxic relationship.
the year they brought Hugh back for a
By
second year of
definition.
coaching, I bailed and I switched to Formula One, and that's where I'm at now. and it's been a happy place for me.
It's funny. I was on a Formula One kick too.
Yeah, all right.
I'm out of the loop in that department. I've never seen a game in my life.
Cool. Congratulations.
yeah.
Probably because I always got picked last in gym class. I don't know.
You'd be on the Browns.
Right.
Now they can always get first pick.
They just pick wrong.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So, what are some of the best venues in the area for this type of a show?
Sadly, if I'll start out with this one, R.I.P. There was
Peabody's.
well, there's an amazing place in Akron called the Empire. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah, I
not
saw that.
being
It's up for
like
sale.
silly. I think it was a passion project, if I'm correct, from the owner.
Something like that.
Clean restrooms, green room, amazing PA system, amazing sound person, engineer.
Always
Shout out to
updating,
Tom.
always improving, always trying to make it better. It's a great place to play.
Amazing, small, tight. Just one of the. I mean, we played there a few times with our lineup, opening up for some really good locals. I'm sorry, not locals, nationals. Like Jenna Tortures, Comic Christ, Christian Death, which is an iconic
Comic Christ.
goth rock band from the 80s.
Hansel and Gretel.
Yep, yeah, I wasn't there for that one though. So it doesn't.
Power Man 5000.
Power Man.
I played with them there.
Yeah. Where'd you play a Static X at? Was that?
That was the Agora.
No, we were supposed to
it was
open
supposed to.
for Static X at the Agora, and he died the day before.
Oh, jeez.
So I think
Thanks, Wayne.
I think Powerline was on the lineup too, so I think Power Man headlined.
Yeah.
If I'm
it's-
remembering correctly.
It was like Orgy, Power Man 5000,
Yeah.
and maybe Dope or Head PE, one of those bands.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But he died the day before we were supposed
Jeez.
to open.
But I think Empire was probably my favorite because it's small.
That was one of the first shows at the Empire that was Static X.
Okay.
I wasn't at that one, but that was one of the first national acts to play there. But unfortunately, yeah, they're for whatever their reasons are, they put it up for sale. I think it's probably.
Is he just retiring?
I think it's in that ballpark. He's just retiring, and
It
hopefully,
didn't seem like it was like a struggle there. Like,
No.
it seems like a really great operation.
yeah, it wasn't that. I think he's just ready to move on, and it's up for sale. Everybody's hoping that somebody picks it up and carries it on.
Keeps
as a
it a
music
concert venue, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Because
It's great.
I
know
mean,
the-
as far as Akron area clubs go, I'd say it's the best.
Cool.
You would let your grandma use the bathroom there.
You will. You will.
That's saying a lot.
I've never been to the Vortex. I know that's close to there. Is that good for concerts?
It's a good spot. Nothing bad to say about it. We played there a few times over the years.
Cool.
But other than that, these days, there used to be tons of venues in Akron. I think other than that now, there's Musica. It's a good spot. They seem to stick to a certain sort of genre of music most of the time. Then there's like little places that, just have the, okay, go set up in the corner kind of thing. Those type of clubs, but
Yeah, not to interrupt you, but we try to be picky where we play because of the stuff that we play. We require a certain element of equipment, otherwise it's just going to sound like crap. So we'd
Right.
rather not play somewhere versus and have just not play there. We want to play with someone that has a good system, so it can kind of represent what our sound's supposed to sound like and should sound
And
like.
that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, if
Yeah.
you're your standard, like 4-piece, you can make that work in a lot more places. But if you're having playing over electronic tracks and stuff, the sound, everything's got to be mixed right, and if it's not,
Yeah.
When there was times when we had a live keyboard player and we show up places, they're like, "We have like 5 inputs for you guys." I'm like, what the hell?
We played once in Canton where the sound person couldn't figure out how to make the tracks work, so it was like we called it Two Dead Reses Unplugged. It was, we were there, we played, but it was awful because it was missing like half the music. You
All
know,
the
it was,
keyboards and
Yeah, the keyboards and the electronic
samples
stuff.
and things.
More of a
sprinkles.
more of a sound guy element. Not everybody always has the best, sound people going on. I mean, it makes you appreciate a good sound guy all the more. You never want to piss the sound guy
Right.
off.
That's
either.
rule one.
Suck button. Hit that suck button. Always be nice to the sound guy.
And Agora, they don't seem to be having locals after their management change,
No,
which is a bummer.
That
Well, I
was
think a lot of that's COVID policy too.
Yeah, that was one of our go-to venues for bigger shows where we played with national acts, and they were always really good to us.
I don't think they even have shows in the small room anymore.
Right, but yeah, they're a guy that sets up the shows there. He always set us up multiple times to really good shows there, but ever since the COVID hit, very few locals, if any, and now it seems that most of the touring bands are they're only playing with who is on tour with them. And
Temple
that's
Live,
that.
we did the room in Temple Live. That was a really cool place.
Yeah.
Really, really, really neat venue. You got to kind of experiment, kind of walk
haven't
around
checked
and
that out yet.
explore. The big.
You ever been in that building?
What is it?
Masonic
What
Temple.
was
It's
it?
that big brick building called the Masonic Hall.
Oh.
Right by the Agora, but it's the other side of the street.
I saw Primus there
Yeah.
years ago. That was my favorite show I've been to.
I've only been there
That's
one time.
an
It's a
awesome
really cool
building.
place.
Yeah.
We were
But they
there
say
with,
there's 6 stages in there or
Yeah.
something insane.
There's the main hall, and then
That's good. Yeah.
4 or 5 other ones.
I get confused a lot when people mention that because I've only been there once, and then I see pictures from there. I'm like, oh no, that's not where I was. It's like, no, this is
I've
another
only been
stage.
in
Oh,
one
that's
place.
another stage too. That's another stage too.
Oh, I've only been in there once for the.
But no, it was a big room where I needed a floor ticket.
Yeah.
Was it a red?
Same.
They have like the red carpet or something. Does that sound
Yeah, that's
familiar?
probably the main.
I don't remember.
Did you see? Speaking of Primus, did you see the Rush act that they did?
I wasn't in town for that,
Oh my
but
gosh,
yeah.
it was mind blowing.
Yeah, I saw some videos online. The one I went to was Primus and the Chocolate Factory,
Oh,
that
that's
tour.
cool. Yeah.
And what was so cool was the beginning, like they were all dressed like you guys, all in black. There was 3 spotlights, and they did their greatest hits, like no frills, just nailed all their greatest hits. Took an intermission, and then they come back and they raise the curtain, and you're in the fucking chocolate factory, and there's Oompa Loompas running around. It's
sounds
colors
pretty badass.
everywhere,
That's cool.
and they recreated the whole soundtrack for that movie, Primus style.
Wow. that'd be-
Yeah,
I'd like to
and
see that.
It
That's
was
awesome.
it
They're on
was
my bucket
cool
list.
as hell.
Nice.
I've only seen Claypool and Delirium.
I was just going
which
to
was-
ask about
was
that.
fucking awesome.
He's got Frog Brigade going around this year.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Like,
They were doing Animals, the full album. Last time I saw them, at where the fuck was that? That was in the Flats. I saw them at back at like 2000 or something like
What's in the
that.
flats? Odeon?
The Odeon, at the Odeon, and they did the Animals album in full,
Nice.
which was very, very
Remember
cool.
when I was in 10th grade, I started off on bass, and I learned to play the main lick to Jerry Was a Race Car Driver on bass. I thought I was pretty fancy then.
Oh yeah, it is fancy.
That dude probably is one of the most amazing bass players ever.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
Plus he does lead vocals. Plus he bounces around like he's not even paying attention to what he's doing.
Right? Yeah, he does that walk around in a circle.
Yeah. I liked his little cover of Master of Puppets at the second Woodstock.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? That was badass. It was sounded better than the Metallica version.
Yeah, that's when he was looking all preppy too. He was looking like
And Metallica played later that night.
Yeah,
he auditioned for Metallica.
he did.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, they didn't like me.
He wasn't the right fit.
No, he was not.
Good thing.
They're like bass players that can turn all the way to 0.
There you go,
That's not
right?
that guy.
Good thing they didn't pick him up. We'd be missing out on a lot.
Yeah,
true.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if they ever do the Rush thing, you have to see it. It was
Yeah, absolutely.
perfection. They played Farewell to Kings from beginning to end,
Right.
Which is one of my favorite records, also, just because it's amazing. But it was insane.
I tried to get tickets when they were playing. Herb had his heart attack, and they had Danny Carey filling in on drums out
know
in
about
Colorado
that.
for 2
I
shows, and I
heard
could not
that.
get tickets. I was trying to, because I'm like, this would be amazing to see.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
one of my favorite drummers filling in for one of my other favorite
Right,
drummers.
yep.
And I don't know if you saw any footage from that, but
Mm-hmm.
like it gives the band a totally different vibe because like Herb is this bouncy,
Mm-hmm.
you know, type drummer, and then like Danny is so linear.
Right.
It totally has a different feel to it. Like they're the same. The rest of the band is Primus, you know, but it's just like very linear feeling. It doesn't have that bounce to it, but it's still technically fantastic.
Sure.
Nice.
Cool. Two Dead Roses. Thanks for coming on, guys.
We got to go to our final question.
We will. But first,
Oh,
let's
okay.
do one more Desert Island album from each of you.
All right.
And us, too.
Oh, jeez. All right.
You guys want to start?
Oh.
Whoo-wee.
Let me think. How about Science by Incubus?
Never heard it.
I'm gonna go with Thriller, just for something different.
That's a great record.
And Poppy and yeah,
What about
going
you?
Thriller.
You guys?
Falco. No.
Me motherfucking Falco and shit.
I guess I got to throw in some black metal. Midian by Cradle of Filth.
Black metal.
Are you sticking with Falco?
No, that was kind of a joke one. Although I really love Rock Me Amadeus.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
That is a great song.
God,
I
it's,
only
it's,
first
it's
heard of that from the Bloodhound Gang album, song. Where
Frontline Assembly just recently covered it. Well, a few years ago. They're an industrial metal band that did a great version of it recently. Just check it out. I don't know. I have trouble narrowing things down like that. Like, what would I listen to if I had to? There's so many albums that I love. I mean, I've been listening to Walk Among Us by the Misfits since I was 14 years old. And never tire of it. So I guess that would probably be on my list.
right?
I need some salvation. I've been throwing around Prince and Depeche Mode and stuff like that so much. I'm just gonna have to throw in Slayer, Rain and Blood
Nice.
because it's Slayer, Rain and Blood. Exactly.
Can't go wrong with that.
But that's me. Like I'll go from the Bee Gees to Slayer to
Yellow.
That's the way to do it.
As it should be. You can't just listen. You're not always in the same mood. You're not always in the same headspace. You know, different vibes for different times. You know.
Yeah. That's signs of a seasoned good musician too. Thorough. Like I saw that like the most indie rock band. They're called Peach Pit, and they opened their show with Raining Blood.
Whoa, that's insane. That's amazing. That's cool. Body Count does some Slayer, and it's
Yeah.
perfection.
The other night.
Perfection. It's like they play Slayer just as good as Slayer does.
They do.
Cool. What's the last
All right.
song? I mean, last question.
All right, the last question is going to be a recommendation for either a TV show, a movie, or a YouTube channel that we should be checking out.
Okay.
I'm going to throw mine out there, just so all you guys think. Midnight Gospel.
Oh yeah. That's a
Duncan
good-
Trussell put it out. I don't know if you know who he is,
Oh, yeah.
but he's also coming to Hilarities in April. So I think I'm
Oh,
gonna be going
cool.
for-
I didn't
yeah.
know that. I'll get. I'm down.
All right, cool. He's like April. Maybe we'll go like the 7th, and then we'll go check out Chewy Center on the 8th.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
The band that was in before you guys.
But yeah, it's a Duncan Trussell is a comedian. He has this podcast.
Is he the one always wearing the ghillie suit?
Yeah, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
So his podcast, they turned it into a cartoon, but it's not like a cartoon about the podcast. It's like crazy shit's going on, and the characters are having the podcast discussion while they're fighting zombies and things like
Okay.
that. It's pretty cool. Like the like spoiler alert, I guess, but like the finale of it. I hope there's another season. But the finale, he did a podcast with his mom after she was like terminally diagnosed with cancer,
wow.
and they just have a discussion about
That's
life and
that's
death
heavy.
and stuff like that. And
Most of it's pretty heavy
Yeah.
and in depth. It's like it's something that like if you
Did you
dabble
cry?
in
I would
mushrooms, it's
probably
good to
cry.
watch.
but that's my recommendation, the Midnight
Good one.
Gospel.
Yeah.
Feedback on you guys?
I'm gonna pass for a second. I got to think about that.
I don't know. Shows. I mean, I always jokingly, but mostly seriously, say that I quit watching TV about 20 years ago. 23. The last show that I followed ended in the year 2000, which was Millennium, which was created by Chris Carter of the X-Files.
I remember Millennium. Yeah.
That was the last one I followed, and I highly recommend it.
All right. Is it? Do you know if it's on any streaming platforms?
It's not.
It's not.
Really?
The only way you can watch it is if you find a DVD set on like eBay or something.
You just blue balled everybody.
Oh, you didn't go buy a
Good enough.
DVD
Mike
player.
just swore off television. After that.
Right.
Hey, but there's the eBay option. But you have to buy a DVD player too.
True.
That's how they get you.
It'll probably stream eventually.
I'm gonna say White Lotus.
Oh
I love
yeah.
that show. It's hilarious. It's twisted. It's dark. It's sexy. They find the most beautiful girls on the planet to be there, and guys, if that's your thing. Yeah, it's a riot. A couple seasons of that. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I will watch a show at a time. And White Lotus was one that really kind of sucked me in because it's incredible.
I never heard of it.
I don't think you would like it.
Too mainstream.
It's the opposite of Millennium.
Okay.
Right.
If you're still thinking that me and my girlfriend are watching The Last of Us,
So are
she played that video game.
Okay,
And she
okay.
played it 10 times. She said she beat it 10 times. And I'm not a video game guy, but then now we're watching this show based on a video game, and all these scenes are exactly all of the cut stories.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. We're on I think episode 5 or 6 because that's what we're watching right now too. So it's pretty cool.
I think it's only been it's coming out once
Okay,
a week
okay.
right now,
So it's probably,
which also has been something lost on us.
right.
in the
Having to
stream-
wait.
in the streaming age,
Right.
and so this first time since Lost, I think,
We
or
watched
Game
since
of
Breaking
Thrones
Bad,
is for
since
me.
Breaking Bad, that I had to wait every week to see the new
I
episode.
think the last
I
one.
hear that's a good one.
It is good. We watched
Yeah.
the last one was the one that has the two little African American brothers. Do you know what I'm
Okay,
talking
yeah,
about?
yeah. All right. So you're a few behind.
Okay, yeah. So, Breaking Bad was the last show that I watched like that. So, and then you'd have to wait for months for another season.
Yeah, right.
Brutal.
Oh wait, I guess I did that with Ozark. I
Oh,
watched
that
that
was a
since the
phenomenal
beginning.
show.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the ending? I thought they did the best they could.
Yeah. You can't please everybody.
Right. I think that was the best show since Breaking Bad, personally.
Yeah, Ozark was really good.
It's you can't you just love Jason Bateman. He's such a scumbag gangster, but he's such the nerdy white boy that it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he surprises you, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess I would have to say the greatest show that ever happened. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The podcast is fantastic too. If you haven't
I
listened.
have been listening.
We
to
reference that show probably every podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Love that.
Yeah,
My wife doesn't agree with my love of that, but yeah, it's great.
I think
Yeah.
Nightman Cometh is the next one they're going to talk about.
Really.
Is that where they're at?
I think that's where they're at right now.
I remember I was watching it back along with the podcast, but then they started doing veering from doing
following it.
Following
they had
it,
D come
yeah.
on and
And
talk
then they
about
skipped
birds.
some weeks, which I understand. Sometimes I don't want to come on here every week and put
good
something
once we're
out
here.
there. Yeah, well, yeah. Once you get it going, it's good. But then
yeah.
I think of their point of view sometimes when you it's Monday and you expect there to be a new episode, and there's not.
Yeah.
You know.
They,
And
they put out a post saying that we're filming season 17 or whatever right now.
Oh
so
yeah, they're working.
we're
the
focused
new
on that. We'll
season.
be back in a couple weeks. But yeah, definitely check out their podcast. It's the Always Sunny podcast. They go through each episode. They'll watch it beforehand and then talk
Oh, that's
about it, and
awesome.
you'll get some insight
there's a
into how they
couple-
wrote it.
Couple episodes of the podcast where they're watching it and commenting it all together.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
funny.
The
Yeah.
best one so far is when they brought Danny DeVito.
Absolutely, that's my favorite too. Yeah, and he tells his story of becoming an actor, and it started from his sister signing him up to be a hairdresser, and
Really?
he was stuck with all the old ladies because when you're starting out, they give you the old ladies because they all get the same haircut. And then he started doing their funerals. Started getting them ready while they were in the casket. He'd be their hairdresser. And, yeah.
Cool.
It's something else.
All right, cool. Lots of new music to check out, new shows to check out. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Oh,
Thank you too,
absolutely.
Dad.
See you again.
You too.
You were like the only positive takeaway from that experience for me.
Well, I learned a lot of. I learned a lot. We're talking about me and Jeremy used to be in the '90s bands.
Mega Nemesis.
Yeah, Mega Nemesis.
Yeah, you
know.
guys,
Great logo,
that's
great
fun to say.
name.
Did you hit your peak at the Berea Pizza Fest?
Yeah, when we had a fill-in singer.
It was a shit show, but we got pizza, so whatever.
I was there. It rained
Well,
for a little bit.
Yeah. No, learned a lot about a lot of warning signs of like what to like. Don't get involved with this project because of A, B, and C.
Right.
You know?
Who's A, B, and C? Spoiler alert.
There's only one person that I kind of, one of the only things I regret about being such a pacifist, there's only one person that I would have liked to have physically thrown out of my house. You know, it wasn't Ryan because he's a sweetheart, but
Yeah.
it's whatever that other guy was.
Yeah, it can be hard to work with some people. But we all know that. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've been that person myself.
Evan's talking about me right now.
But he was a ray. He was a
This
ray
is
of
the last
sunshine.
episode.
I'm a freaking diva. I storm out all the time.
Cool.
see us
Then,
sometime.
let's cheers to Ryan Sampson.
Yeah, what's your shows coming up?
What do we have coming up?
Thanks, Ryan Sampson. Oh, you can check out Ryan Sampson in a few projects.
I'm empty.
The best of which is his Rolling Stones tribute, Gimme
Yes.
Shelter.
Yeah.
With Bob Hughes, who
Yeah,
I
there's
was
like 30
playing.
people in that band.
Yeah, 8-person band, I think. Yeah.
I was in a
He's
band with
good-
the singer.
He's a good player.
Cool. Sorry, we cut you off. What were you saying?
Nothing.
Shows.
Oh yeah, shows.
Shows. We do have a show coming up April 1st at McAlpine Meadery down in, is that Massillon?
Beach City.
Beach City.
Meadery.
Yeah. They make mead.
It's
good mead.
All
It's just,
kinds
it's
of
just
Oh,
a
mead with ED. I thought you guys are playing at a slaughterhouse.
now there's an idea.
We only play Slaughterhouse.
No, they make mead.
wear
It's
the
ju-
meat
It made
outfit.
sense in my brain that you're playing a slaughterhouse.
I can see that. But it's just a little hole in the wall venue that our friends in a band called Syringe they're doing a CD release show there and asked us to open up for them. So we're gonna pop down to McAlpine Meadery and have a good night on April Fool's Day,
Cool.
no less.
Cool. Well, thanks for all the great insight on a new genre for both of us.
Yeah.
And
on.
good
I feel
hanging
like
out with you guys.
we were asking the same questions we were asking jazz people.
Yeah.
What's going on over there? I know it, but I don't get it.
Why?
But the fun part is that regardless, is like we all still like a lot of the same stuff. you
Yeah.
know?
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, which is good.
Well, birds of a feather flock together.
All right.
And on that note.
All right. We're signing off here. So thanks a lot to Dead Roses and for Kaiga Sound Podcast. I'm Evan Stone.
I'm Chuck Schilling. Peace.